US President Donald Trump outlines his plan to combat inflation and illegal immigration.
As a result of this incredible momentum and what we're doing and going to do. Oh no.
Consumer confidence in the Eurozone rises 0.3 points in January. And Syria's foreign minister says his country will open up its economy to foreign investments.
Big opportunity of investment.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Qnews Economic Bulletin. Thanks for watching. This is where we bring you the latest developments shaping the global economy. From key market trends and financial updates to regional economic highlights and forecasts. We provide essential news and analysis to keep you informed. Welcome to the program, and we start off with the United States, as the new US unemployment claims rose to 223,000 for the week ending January 18th, up by 6,000, suggesting no major deterioration in the labour market. Despite low layoffs, new job opportunities are decreasing as employers remain cautious. Claims were affected by California wildfires, but the overall trend remains stable. Continuing claims reached their highest level since November 2021, indicating slower hiring. The data supports expectations for the Federal Reserve will not cut interest rates next week. The US President Donald Trump, speaking via video at the World Economic Forum in Davos, outlined his plan to combat inflation and illegal immigration while boosting fossil fuel production. Trump emphasized deregulation and making the US a hub for artificial intelligence and cryptocurrencies, alongside extending tax cuts from his first term. He pledged to harness the country's vast oil and gas resources to reduce costs and strengthen US manufacturing. His comments come amid market concerns about his tariff proposals, set to begin on February 1st.
Our country will soon be stronger, wealthier, and more united than ever before, and the entire planet will be more peaceful and prosperous as a result of this incredible momentum.
Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman revealed plans to invest $600 billion in the US over the next 4 years, with potential for further increases if additional opportunities arise. The announcement came during a phone call with US President Trump, both leaders discussing strengthening economic ties, fostering bilateral trade, and leveraging expected US economic reforms to enhance prosperity and investment partnerships. Meanwhile, Trump said that he would ask bin Salman to increase these investments to $1 trillion. Official data has revealed that Japan's trade surplus with the US reached 8.6 trillion yen in 2024, significantly surpassing the 6.7 trillion yen average recorded during Trump's first term. This surge, driven by increased car and parts exports, alongside a weaker yen, which depreciated 7.7% year-on-year to average 150.97 per dollar, highlights Japan's continued export dominance over imports with the world's largest economy. However, this rise exposes Japan to potential US tariffs under Trump's critical stance toward countries with large trade surpluses. China has expressed its readiness to negotiate with US President Donald Trump over the tariffs Washington plans to impose, aiming to prevent the implementation of protectionist policies by the new Republican administration. Chinese Ministry of Commerce spokesperson He Yandong stated that the ministry maintains open communication channels with relevant US authorities to manage disputes and enhance economic cooperation between the two countries. He emphasized that high tariffs are not beneficial for either China or the United States. He also reiterated China's willingness to work with the US to foster sustainable bilateral relations. The EU economy chief, Valdis Dombrovskis, has stated that the European Union is open to discussing energy and arms purchases from the United States to counter potential tariffs from President Trump. Dombrovskis noted that the EU would defend its interests if tariffs were imposed, recalling past retaliatory measures against US imports. He emphasized the importance of engaging with the new US administration, highlighting that US liquefied natural gas has been vital for Europe since Russia cut gas supplies in 2022. Also, he mentioned that strengthening NATO defense capabilities could involve increased military spending.
It's clear that in geopolitical situation which we are facing with Russia's aggression against...
In related news, US investment bank JP Morgan has downgraded its recommendation on Panama's bonds after US President Donald Trump ramped up his threat this week to take back the Panama Canal. The Central American country's bonds have been struggling since Trump made the pledge during his election campaign. But JP Morgan's analysts said its prominence during his inauguration speech on Monday had ratcheted up the stakes. The analyst warned that while the two countries could end up resolving the issue, the potential noise associated with the path that could get them there should cause markets to be increasingly sensitive to the headline risks. Now, joining us from Hong Kong is the economist, Mr. Benny Kwok, who is going to be discussing the latest developments related to the Panama Canal and Trump's statements surrounding it. Thank you for being here with us on Qnews, Mr. Kwok. Let's start at the beginning. Before we get to the politics of the situation, how has the Panama Canal revolutionized global trade when it comes to reducing shipping distances? And what role does the canal play in ensuring efficient supply chains between Asia, the Americas, and Europe indeed?
So, yes, currently Panama Canal is okay. Of course, it is administered and controlled by the Panamanian governments. But now Donald Trump is focusing on the so-called Chinese, the ports. The two key ports are under the control of the China. But of course, in accurate, those two ports he's mentioning is under being administered by two Hong Kong companies, who is under the control of the Hong Kong, very famous Hong Kong billionaire Li Ka-shing. So, of course, and also for the canal is the China is using more and more That's why Donald Trump is what Donald Trump is meaning is to trying to pressure the government of Panama to trying to say maybe to remove the right of the control of these of the Li Ka-shing, because Li Ka-shing is from Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is now being greatly influenced by China. So what Donald Trump now is to try to remove the Li Ka-shing's control of the part of the canal, and now because Donald Trump would like to focus influence in the Latin America, and that's why he's sending the Marco Rubio to visit the Latin American countries. He's trying to, the whole strategy is to trying to contain and or maybe remove and try to balance the power in the Latin America from China.
Trump, of course, in the way that only Trump can talk, has said that Panama have given China the Panama Canal. As you mentioned, I think the truth of the matter is that China has a port which it controls on the canal. How do we get out of this situation with Trump's threats like this?
Of course, it's just of course what he is saying is just rhetoric. Of course, now he's trying to pressure the Panama government to do something, just like, for example, just like because Li Ka-shing previously also has the desalination projects in Israel, and because of the status of Hong Kong is now greatly influenced by China or even under the control of the China. So at that time, Israel is pressured by the United States not to give the right for the Li Ka-shing's company, that is a Hutchison Whampoa, to have to bid the project of the desalination project. Just like now for the Panama case, it's almost the same. That is, I could see the Panama is, I could see Donald Trump is trying to pressure the Panama not to, for example, not to extend the rights of the Li Ka-shing's company to maintain the two ports, and maybe pass the rights of the control rights of two ports to maybe other Western companies, so that the canal and the two ports are being maybe controlled or being administered by the U.S. or other Western companies. That could be to relieve the pressure of the Donald Trump. Maybe I would see that it would be a possible result, or rather than just believing his rhetoric, because we all know what he's saying is just rhetoric. Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, Benny Quokka, economist joining us from Hong Kong. Thank you very much for being here with us on Q News. And now we move to the latest developments from around the rest of the world. Now, the WTO Director General has warned that trade wars could lead to catastrophic consequences for global growth. Discussing US President Donald Trump's tariff threats, she stated that retaliatory measures could result in double-digit global GDP losses, reminiscent of the economic downturns of the 1930s. EU Trade Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis, also present at the event in Davos, urged Trump to focus on addressing income inequality rather than resorting to tariffs as a solution for the political issues in the United States.
You know, we're not trading across the world, and we layer in trade policy uncertainty.
Meanwhile, the European Commission has reported that consumer confidence in the Eurozone rose 0.3% in January, reaching 14.2 to 14.5 in December. The flash estimate aligned with economists' expectations, who had forecast a rise to 14.2. Meanwhile, consumer sentiment in the European Union as a whole remains stable at minus 13.3 points. An industry survey showed that a sharp downturn in British factories eased only slightly in January, and optimism among manufacturers sagged to its lowest level in over 2 years. The Confederation of British Industries monthly order book gauge improved in January to negative 34 from negative 40 in December, which had been a more than 4-year low. The quarterly gauge of business optimism fell in the first quarter of 2025 to its lowest level since late 2022. It said price expectations from manufacturers also increased in January to their highest level since April 2024. The French President Emmanuel Macron says that Europeans, including France and Germany, must protect their sovereignty more than ever in the face of the return of US President Donald Trump. He made the remarks at a joint press conference with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Paris, adding that it was important to support the automobile, steel, chemical sectors, among others. Macron stated that after the inauguration of a new administration in the United States, it is more than ever up to Europeans, and so to the two countries, to play their role of consolidating a united, strong and sovereign Europe. The Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, has said that the Russian economy is stable and maintains a relatively high development despite certain problematic factors. This came in response to the circulated news that Vladimir Putin has grown increasingly concerned about distortions in Russia's wartime economy, just as Donald Trump pushes for an end to the Ukraine conflict. Peskov added that Russia will meet all military requirements and social obligations. Chairman Martin Schlegel has said that the Swiss National Bank still has room to cut interest rates further, potentially even taking them below 0% if Swiss inflation falls too low. Schlegel referred to the current 0.5% interest rate, noting that this means that there is still some room. Schlegel said the bank would assess the need for further adjustments at its next meeting in March. He expressed a dislike for negative interest rates, but acknowledged that the SNB would implement them if necessary. The SNB maintained negative interest rates for almost 8 years from December 2014 rather.
Also, the Swiss National Bank doesn't like negative interest rates, but if we have to do it, we would do it again.
Is there a gathering of central bankers or not really?
Not really, because central banks also have other forms.
The Thai government has launched an AI-generated video featuring the Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra speaking Mandarin. This initiative aims to restore confidence among Chinese tourists following safety concerns after actor Wang Xing went missing near the Thai-Myanmar border, sparking fears of human trafficking. In the video, Shinawatra promised decisive action against transnational crimes and enhanced tourist safety measures. With a 91% surge in arrivals from China this year, efforts hope that this effort will restore confidence and support the vital tourism sector. Statistics Canada has reported that the country's retail sales were flat in November, totaling 67.57 billion Canadian dollars, as declines in sectors like supermarkets, grocery stores and furniture stores were offset by strong car sales. Excluding automotive, sales dropped by 0.7%. Despite a weak month, analysts view this as a temporary dip, with a late Black Friday and tax holidays influencing consumer behaviour. South Korea's GDP grew just 0.1% in the fourth quarter of 2024, underperforming expectations as political instability following President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment dampened consumer and business sentiment. The economy struggled throughout the year, narrowly avoiding a recession in quarter three. Economic uncertainty is expected to persist into 2025, with growth projected to slow to between 1.6 and 1.7%. While exports showed modest recovery, risks from US tariffs and weak domestic demand are concerning. Policymakers are under pressure to boost stimulus, with the Bank of Korea likely to cut interest rates in February. Japan's government kept a cautious economic outlook, citing US President Donald Trump's policies and financial market fluctuations as key risks to growth. While private consumption and corporate profits show signs of recovery, Japanese firms in the US brace for the impact of Trump's tariff threats. The government expects moderate economic recovery driven by steady wage gains and a strong corporate sector. Japan's base salary rose at the fastest pace since 1992. And wage talks for 2025 begin. The Bank of Japan is expected to raise interest rates unless market disruptions occur. The Syrian Foreign Minister Assad Hassan al-Shibani said at the World Economic Forum in Davos that the country will open its economy to foreign investments, highlighting what he described as a big opportunity. Shibani also added that Damascus is working on partnerships with Gulf states in the energy and electricity sectors. He stressed that the main sectors Syria is focused on are energy, telecom, roads, airports, education, and health.
Sources of economy are diverse, and we have a lot of sectors of industry and tourism, and also.
Oil fell more than 1% on Thursday after the US President Donald Trump urged Saudi Arabia and OPEC to bring down its cost during his address at the World Economic Forum. Uncertainty over how proposed tariffs and energy policies would affect global economic growth and energy demand also weighed on prices. Brent crude futures were down 1.14% to $78.01 a barrel. US West Texas Intermediate crude dipped 1.34% to $74.43. Gold prices retreated from a near three-month high on Thursday as the dollar ticked up, while focus remained on US President Trump's policies. Spot gold eased 0.4% to $2,744.26 per ounce, and US gold futures shed 0.7% to $2,750.30. To the markets then, and global stocks rose on Thursday as a rally fueled by Donald Trump's spending plans for artificial intelligence infrastructure fizzled and caution set in over what the new US president's next moves on trade might be. France's CAC 40 rose 0.75%, Germany's DAX added 0.77%, Britain's FTSE 100 inched up 0.29%, the future for the S&P 500 was up 0.16%, and that for the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.54%. To Asia, and Hong Kong's Hang Seng dropped 1.63%, while the Shanghai Composite lost 0.89%. In Tokyo, the Nikkei 225 was up 0.79%, and Australia's S&P ASX 200 rose 0.51%. And that's almost all for now, but here's a recap of what we've been covering on our economic bulletin. US President Donald Trump outlines his plan to combat inflation and illegal immigration at Davos.
planet will be more peaceful and prosperous.
Consumer confidence in the Eurozone rose 0.3 points in January. And Syria's foreign minister says his country will open up its economy to foreign investments.
We have a big opportunity and big opportunity of investment.
And that's all for now on our economic bulletin here on Q News. But don't forget, you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at QNewsEGY. Thank you for watching and stay tuned here on Q News for more updates.